Hi guys, welcome back to my channel Lush Foliage. So today I was planning to sow some seeds of morning glory. I thought I will share the process with you. So I will show you the entire process from sowing the seeds till harvesting the seeds. So you'll get a fair idea. Because if you have not sown the seeds of morning glory, this is the right time you can sow the seeds. You will be able to get the flowers in this season itself before the winters come. Because in some places, due to extreme winters, the morning glory will die, so you have to collect the seeds and then plant them once again. But in some places where the winters are not very extreme, it's very mild, most probably the morning glories might survive. Again, depending upon the variety, because there are some varieties that are perennial varieties, whereas some varieties which are annual varieties. Now again, I'm not very sure which are the varieties that are annuals and perennial. I do have one variety. I will show it to you at the end of the video. So over here, I have already started to make my soil mix. Now for the soil mix, you can use any type of soil mix as long as the soil mix is well draining, loose, porous. You do not need to be worried about fertilizers because morning glories will do well in poor nutrient soil as well. So you do not need to be worried. It is a very low maintenance plant. It is a vining plant, of course, but the best thing is that it does not require a lot of feeding, a lot of fertilizers. But of course, if you're going to give a little bit of fertilizers after it starts to bloom, that is going to help in flowering more profusely. But they will do well in low nutrient soil as well. So over here I have my soil mix. Now this soil mix is a mix of coco peat and garden soil and a very little amount of sand. Sand and perlite is optional. If you feel that your soil mix is becoming very compact, then you can add a little bit. But for me, majority of what I tend to use is coco peat and garden soil. Over here I have a 7-inch pot. I would always advise you to go with a 7-inch pot. Another tip what I will give you is when you're using a pot, use the seed in that permanent pot. Now for example, this is a 7-inch pot. I'm going to be using only two colors because I wanted to create an arrangement of light blue and white morning glory. So I'm going to use only two seeds. I would say do not increase more than two seeds, and especially if you are a person who's looking out for the particular flower. Let's say that if I'm going to plant white one in this and I want the white seeds for the next season, then only use one color, because if you're going to use too many colors, there is a high chance that the morning glory will get cross-pollinated and you might not get the same color again next season. So you have to be extremely careful. So if you want, you can put two seeds in a 7-inch pot. That is going to be more than enough. What I have seen is some people, they tend to put a lot of seeds together and after that they start to transplant it. This all depends upon your experience, because a lot of times, as I've said this earlier as well, morning glory seedlings are not very good with transplanting. They usually tend to die off after transplanting it. There is a high chance, I'm not saying every time this is going to happen, but there is a high chance that the seedlings will not be able to go through that transplant process. So ideally it is best is what you do, take the seed and put it in the permanent pot itself. It will germinate, it will grow into a huge plant. I will show it to you in the next clip once we are all done with this. So now I have used a green shade cloth. I have cut it into a round piece so that the excess soil does not flow out. And now we will just start filling up. So guys, now I will show you how to sow the seeds. Now I have two seeds. One is the light sky blue and the other one is the white one. Now the white one is the seeds that I had stored from my last harvest. I was able to save some of the seeds. So here I have the seed. So this is how the seed tends to look like. Now all you have to do is just make a small little dent, not too deep, not too shallow. Just place the seed and cover it up. That's about it. We take another seed, same thing, just make a dent, put it into the dent and cover it up. And that's about it. Not too deep and not too above. After this, if you want, you can put a plastic sheet over it. I'm going to leave it as it is, and that's all about it. Now all we have to do is just place it in indirect but bright light, no direct sunlight. So sorry guys, my battery died off, so this is another phone. So now guys, as I said, we have already put the seeds into the soil. My coco peat was already moist, so I do not need to do a complete watering. But as we have already put the seeds, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mist the upper layer of soil. Just mist it a little bit. Remember guys, do not put water in full force when you have sowed the seeds, because the seeds will get displaced in the soil. We do not want to do that. At times the seeds might even come up, because a lot of times the seeds tend to float when you put excess water in one go. So never put water in one go in full force. You can add water from the sides if you're using a pipe or something, but don't put it in a full force. And then you can just mist it until the upper layer of soil is completely moist. And there we go, that's more than enough. Now we are going to keep this in indirect but bright light. Never ever put or expose your recently put seeds or recently sowed seeds to direct sunlight, otherwise they will get damaged. If you want, if the environment is very dry, if you feel, you can use a plastic cover over it. I'm not using a plastic cover because it's raining over here and there is a good amount of humidity, so I do not need to be worried. So now this is going to take quite some time. Of course, I want to show you the growth rate as well. So what I'm going to do is I will show you the others that I've already planted. So here we go. So after probably a week or so, again guys, it depends upon the seed and your environment. Some might take 1 week, some might take 3 to 4 days to germinate, some might even take 3 to 4 weeks as well. So this is how it's going to start off with. This is how it's going to look. Eventually it will start growing like this. So these are all the different growth rates, because these were all planted at different intervals. So that's why the growth rate is very different. But with this you'll get a fair idea. So it's going to start off like this, and then it's going to look like this, and then slowly and steadily the plant will start to grow bigger like this. So these are the baby leaves or the initial leaves. I'll put up the name on the screen because these the early or the first leaves, these leaves, they are called as a particular name has been given to them. I'll put that up on the screen so you can get an idea of it. So this is how it's going to look like. A little bit of white flies. I have to put a little bit of cinnamon powder. You can see there are a lot of white flies. This is what tends to attack the morning glory quite often. So if you have a case like this, all you can do is use some cinnamon powder. So this is some cinnamon powder, and just sprinkle it around the soil. Smell of cinnamon powder is going to repel these insects, but they do keep coming back, so we have to sprinkle the cinnamon powder on an interval basis. So sprinkle the cinnamon powder regularly, probably once in 3 weeks, once in 4 weeks. It will take care of it. Eventually these white flies will go off. They don't like the smell of cinnamon powder. You can even put the cinnamon powder on the new seedlings as well, just around a little bit, just a pinch of it, not a lot. This is more than enough, and just sprinkle it around the soil. So this will avoid any kind of fungus, mold, or even for that matter ants as well. If there is a strong smell of cinnamon powder, usually the ants do not come into that pot. So this is a good practice. This is what I usually tend to do. Cinnamon powder tends to work out really well for me. I never use any kind of chemicals. It's always my cinnamon powder that helps me a lot. Whether it is any kind of fungus or whether it's any kind of bugs, the cinnamon powder tends to help a lot. So this was the entire process, guys. This is how it's going to look like. Starting from after a couple of days or weeks, that's how the first will start, and then eventually it will start to grow like this, and then you can use a trellis or whatever you have, and then the plant will start to attach itself onto it. So I will show you the mature plant after around 2 to 3 months, maybe 2 months, maybe 1 month, depending upon how fast the morning glory is going to grow in your environment. It will start to put out flowers. So the next couple of clips you will be able to see the flower stage. I will show you the flowers, and after that I will show you how the seeds tend to form and how you can collect the seeds. And guys, once the plant reaches to around 5 to 6 inches in height, and then you can place it in morning direct sunlight. Now guys, every morning glory plant would require 5 to 6 hours of direct morning sunlight. You can understand by the name itself, morning glory, they prefer a good amount of morning direct sunlight. Only once they get a good amount of morning direct sunlight is when they will start to bloom profusely. If you're going to keep them in partial shade or indirect bright light, the plant will do quite well, but the amount of blooms are going to be very, very less. So ensure that you're giving a good amount of morning direct sunlight. And this is how the seed pods will look like. Now guys, these seed pods are not ready yet. They're still very green. We have to wait for some more time till they turn slightly brown in color. The insides will start to turn brown in color. Let me see if I can find any that is ready. So you can see mine have a lot of seed pods, but I'm just waiting for them to turn ready. And I think I have one, which is a good thing. So I will take it out and show it to you. So this is the one that looks like it's ready. Again, I'm not very sure, but I'll take it out any which ways. And here we go. This is how it looks. So we have to just break it and the seeds will come out. So this is how it looks like. So this had, sometime there are 4, sometime there are 5, sometime it might have 1. It all depends upon the seed pod. So in this one I only had 3 of it. So this is how the seeds will tend to look like. I will try to take out another one because there is one small one over here which is already dried out. And this one will only have 1 because it's very, very small, and you can see it just has 1 because this was a very small seed pod. So we have 1 over here. So that makes 4 from 2 seed pods. So in this way we can collect it. All we have to do is just wait for the seeds pod to dry. Over here I have another one. You can see this is how it's supposed to look like. This is how it's supposed to look like. It should be completely dry. And then it's going to be like a balloon, and then we just need to pop it. Once we pop it, this is how it's going to look like, and the seeds are going to be inside it. Just open it. Okay, so this one had 2 of it. So guys, this is how you can collect the seeds. Now of course I'm using my mobile phone in one hand, so it's a little difficult, but otherwise I would have shown you the entire, it looks like a balloon. All you have to do is just pop it and the seeds will be inside this. Now if you do not take out the seed pods, they will automatically pop and it will fall into the soil and you will have a new plant. So if you want to save the seeds for the next season, you'll have to take it out in the same manner. Wait for the entire thing to turn brown in color, and then the seeds will be inside it. They will be ready inside it. And then again the same process as you have seen from the start. Put it into the soil. The entire process you have to start all over again. So guys, that's all about it. I hope that you liked this video. If you did, please hit the like button, and if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to it. Until then, take care, stay safe and keep planting.